We've got some great games coming up, and an awful lot of teams here, I think, looking to prove themselves with slightly changed formats, online stages. That means, for me, anyone really can be winning and getting those qualification spots.
Yeah, we've seen kind of teams who, when they get into studio environments, when they get into LAN environments, they can level up. But when you're kind of in these online spaces, everyone's sort of, in theory, in a bit of a comfort space. Now, sure, there will be teams on boot camp, but if anything, that could level up some teams. I look at teams like Legacy in particular.
Yes.
They are a side that kind of play to the occasion. They play to the environment around them. But there's some sides who will be playing from home, at least for the first stage. And in a sense, that comfort can be a blessing, but also can be a curse, right? It's hard, I think, at times, as we all know at times, when, you know, in the comfort of your bedroom, to really live up to the occasion. So for them, this is a chance to really prove themselves. And I think, like you said, right, there's a lot of teams I consider favorites here, like your PARIVISIONs, your G2s of the world in this first stage, but with it being an online stage, this is sort of anyone's game.
Yeah, absolutely. That generally is how they go down. That just also seems to be the energy of pro leagues of years gone by as well, with all the teams playing and everyone getting involved. But like I say, a little bit more of a split this time around to just sort of, you know, get these earlier teams working a bit harder, as it were, to work their way through. This, of course, the format Swiss system, you guys know it by now, I'm sure, and that does result in, again, some pretty severe heartbreak and whatnot, right, if you're going down 2-3, but also some really happy moments for a few of these teams as well, as we do have those round one matchups on the left-hand side there.
I did a little mock of this on HTV. They can do like a mock one, basically, right, and I went through, it kind of reminded me of when we always used to do it for the major, like Pick'em's coin. And I think I ended up coming out with PARIVISION FUT being my 3-0s. And I think it was my 0-3s were SemperFI was definitely one. And maybe Gaming Gladiators, I think, were potentially my 03s.
Yeah,
but we'll see how this one ends up panning out, right? I guess the beauty of the Swiss system, as we've seen with kind of, I mean, every sort of tournament we get, there is always upsets that really do throw a span in the works. And then we end up getting towards the likes of like a 2-2 stage where we actually have two big teams playing off against each other. And you'd kind of want both of them to be able to make it through to the next stage. But that's not how it works. It's consistency, it's form across the board that is required here as well. And that's what we look towards this sort of a system to potentially cause a bit of a ruckus, right? If there's one upset along the way, who knows how things are going to pan out. So I'm really looking forward to kind of how this tournament gets underway. We've got, of course, our first sort of few games are less lopsided, let's say. I think it's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, potentially. Certainly is a nice way of putting it for sure, but that's just ultimately how the sort of seeding works out, of course. You know, these are the A-Stream games, so not our coverage, but still some pretty cool matchups over there. Be interested to see how, like, G2 are looking out of the gates. You know, a lot of people start of the year, everyone was like, yeah, G2 are going to be sick. And it's not really panned out that way. But these games are the ones that we're focusing in on for today here on the B-Stream.
PARIVISION SemperFI to start, Astralis, Monte. We'll be bringing you those two. And then Bardolph and DDK will be taking over the reins for FUT M80 and 3D Max Pain to round out the first day. We're on the morning shift. They're on the evening shift here, and we're really looking forward to it. I mean, that first game, I've been kind of like building it up, at least in my head, that I feel like it's probably one of the most lopsided games that we've had in kind of Tier 1 Counter-Strike all year, and potentially might be the case in terms of one of the most lopsided games we have all year long, right? On paper, this is a PARIVISION side who are arguably the most informed side in terms of the form where they've been over the last 12 months. They've gone from being completely unranked to now a legit contender for nearly every tournament they play. Where on the flip side, SemperFI, they very rarely get these opportunities to head in towards this level of play. Last year was fantastic for them, though. There was obviously, for those who are sort of unaware about how the ECL system works, we have cups throughout the year. Those cups lead to finals, and in doing so, the winner of those finals books their spot to Pro League. However, SemperFI won all 4 cups, so there was no finals because they didn't need to play it. Here we have PARIVISION. We have their event results throughout the year, and I mean, hey, one hell of a start indeed. First tournament of the year, first trophy, winning bounty. But then around that, a little bit weird. You look at Krakow, 13 to 16, a massive underperformance for them. And then PGO Cluj-Napoca, second. It's the variety of inconsistencies. If we're following this trend, Pro League might be a bit of a dud.
Yeah, we'll find out, right? I think that there's a lot of conversation around this team, and rightfully so, just because they are so creative. I think that's one of the things that's really drawn the attention, is that the style's a bit different. They have their own identity immediately, and clearly it's also working. I think something, as we wanted to highlight here as well, is that, you know, the individuals, there's a couple of names over on that SemperFI side who might be able to shoot back, as it were. But when it comes to the team play aspect and the whole system, the buy-in, all those types of words that you use when James is involved, it's going to be a lot tougher.
Yeah, and you know, you look at these two with Nota and Savage. I think you look towards Savage, of course, who's made a bit of a name for himself within this roster. But also, I think kind of I wanted to bring him up because he has quite high highs, but also as well at times can be a little bit of the low lows, right? Can also have a little bit of those inconsistencies. And I think Nota's the same. Like, we've seen the peaks of Nota throughout this year already. His highs have been incredible. You know, single-handedly winning maps for this PARIVISION side, but at times can go missing as well. So kind of wanted to highlight these two in terms of arguably maybe not the numbers people on their team. You look towards the SemperFI side, and you probably bring up Hazard in that side, or maybe Shady, I think is probably the other one who you look as the main guys who are going to put numbers on the board. But if we can get like these core members firing on all cylinders, that's where they're going to find some success. Here's the map pool. We were running a bit of a mock veto in our heads as well. I'm feeling, right, I'm thinking something like, I think maybe like a Mirage Inferno Dust 2, something along those lines, potentially. I don't think SemperFI are going to want to go to Anubis. I don't think PARIVISION... You think they might float a nuke. I think they're perma-banning nuke immediately. Dust 2, I think PARIVISION pick into. I think SemperFI pick Mirage, and I think Inferno might just get floated because it's a bit of a handshake. That's where I'm leaning. How are you feeling? You were kind of prophesying potentially a nuke,
I like something a bit entertaining. I don't know that it'll come out, but I think that PARIVISION might goad SemperFI into, you know, potentially picking into it just as some crazy kind of risk move, but they're also just not very proficient on it. Yes, they kind of play it, but they're just not very proficient. So, I don't know. I feel like PARIVISION might have a bit of fun ultimately with the veto and get creative as we know them to do. As you can see on the board, James obviously been doing some work. I recognise some of those words, but not all of them.
I hate to break it to you though, mate. You're talking about having fun and then bringing up James' style of teamwork. I can safely guarantee. Also, as well, I like the idea. Right, there it is. The new band. I like the idea though, but you also got to remember that this is inherently like a risk. Like if PARIVISION don't take this seriously and lose, their VRS gets tanked. Like this is true, actually. This is the 141st ranked team in the world or whatever. We get the Mirage pick as expected. We get the Dust 2 as expected as well. So far, I'm 2 for 2 on the picks. I think just for this, I feel like Inferno might just be the handshake because it is, in theory, kind of like one of the best maps for both of these sides. It's the best map for SemperFI, and it's probably like the second best for the likes of this PARIVISION side. Ancient will get banned out here as well. Big thing is, do we get the Anubis? There it is. So, okay, Mirage Dust 2, Inferno. Again, in theory, this is the map veto that sort of had to come through. This feels like the fairest one. But ultimately, for SemperFI, you're looking in towards that Mirage, and it is one of those where, like, so Dust 2, don't expect them to be winning that at all. Like, if we're just being frank, it's been such a good map for PARIVISION. So they've got to go in towards a Mirage, which, again, is kind of a big ask. I mean, PARIVISION, yes, they haven't looked great on it, but neither have SemperFI. And SemperFI's quality of opponents in comparison to PARIVISION's are massively different.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the underlying conversation here when you come from that Oceania region. You know, yes, they're sort of dominating over there, but I think that internationally they've not done so well. They've been playing a few of these kind of tier 2 lands, trying to build some VRS while they're obviously over here for Pro League. They're using it to their advantage and entering a few of these sort of online cups and a couple of lands, I believe, and whatnot, and they've just not really been finding success there, and that's against not the best of our European talent.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you where SemperFI are at, unfortunately.
Interesting, actually, looking at the PARIVISION side here, it looks like everybody bar Zelo's on LAN, or like on boot camp even. So, you know, they're all there, you know, got the whiteboards up.
Like, famously been playing in the same house or whatever
or for
a year and a half or what.
Yeah,
like
entirety of last year, they all playing in the same house. They had that game, which I'm assuming is probably actually where they are, but it actually looks like he's not, right? He's in his own setup. But I know it was obviously quite a big undertaking, and it obviously long-term paid off for PARIVISION, but like James moved in with his wife. Like, it was like a big thing. It wasn't kind of like, you know, they would come for boot camp for like before tournaments. They lived there permanently, lived and trained, and kind of died by the sword in a sense. And that's what we talk about, this buy into the PARIVISION system. Flip side as well, no surprise, of course, that we see SemperFI on boot camp, because the ping from Oz would be pretty extreme. But for them as well, right, this is obviously quite a big opportunity. They're in an interesting position as well when you look towards this side. They currently found themselves 126th in the Valve ranking. So obviously, you know, regionally, they're actually a very strong side. There's a couple of teams in Oz that are looking obviously pretty good. You got the SemperFI team, but you got Thunder Down Under. That's Dexter's new side that have actually been kind of farming recently. But for SemperFI, like, getting a couple of wins at this tournament would massively propel their VRS. Honestly, getting towards stage 2 would be a huge success for this team.
Yeah, and I feel like it's where the Swiss stage is really going to be an advantage for teams like SemperFI, and I think that a lot more teams are maybe demanding it in the VRS era. Just because in, you know, bygone Pro Leagues, it's like they lose one game and then they're down in the lower bracket, and then suddenly your tournament life is just on the line and maybe even over if you're not careful.
Yes, yeah.
So this feels like there's the potential for a lot more Counter-Strike, which is pretty solid for sure.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, we're hopefully going to get this game underway in just a second. Now, with this veto in play, it really comes down to, can we get SemperFI playing at the level that they sort of should be, right? This is a side that have actually had some decent highs at times, but it's such a big undertaking. You've got a side of PARIVISION who, yes, maybe Krakow was a little bit of an underwhelming performance, but generally speaking, 2 out of 3 tournaments, they've gone to the final. They've proven that they are actually playing like one of the best teams in Tier 1 right now, and you're against sort of an eternal great now in that of Jay, major winner, and of course a guy who's now done it with 2 separate squads, right? If you do it one team and you do it well, you can get your plaudits, but if you've been able to do it with one team, get kicked from said team, then rebuild with a bunch of youngsters, and then do it again. Take them towards finals, win Tier 1 trophies, all while your former organization absolutely just
tanks him.
dies.
It's been a great year for James. It really has.
His hate watch has been elite from back home. He's been loving life.
Just after he wins, you know, a map or whatever, he's just sneaking a little check of the VP results.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
having
like
a little chuckle to himself.
They just lost to retired Deco on land. Like, ooh. He just chuckles away. But
Mir will save that project, though, I'm convinced.
Yeah, 3 years since his last official.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought he was retired, but he's
just been sat on the bench though as well.
Yeah.
It's like, have they just been
I didn't
paying
realize
him
he was because
for all that time?
I mean, generally speaking, bench contracts are like a quarter of what your overall contract is. So
sometimes they get half.
Yeah,
you know?
just loving life basically on that bench. But yeah, he's not played in 3 years. Rumor as well, they're getting Flammus back. He obviously is on loan at the moment.
Yeah, I did see that.
I had a bit of a tweet, but I just said, like, poor guy, wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And I will stand by it a little bit because I feel like OG have a better chance. I mean, they're still not really a major contention just yet, but definitely a better chance than VP.
Yeah, maybe just a better environment. I don't know what's happening at VP, but, you know, we'll leave the VP hate for, for Twitter, I suppose. But yeah, I do feel this matchup, which I think we're just sort of waiting to get into at this point. Ultimately, we've touched on it a little. You don't want to kick them down too much, but SemperFI are certainly going to struggle. I think I often talk about it, that it's like we love as pundits, like getting into the maps and stats here and this percentage and that percentage, and oh, they played this guy, so does that mean that they're going to be better here, and you know, all this. And I think that for me, maps aren't as important in this one. I think that SemperFI, maybe a Savage can match up, but I think across the board, they're just really going to struggle to break this PARIVISION team apart. You know?
The chalice awaits.
Well, buddy, you're about to find out.
Sasha, please don't come back.
Yes! Let's go, guys. Go.
You know, he's coming in through the smoke, worried on the other side. Are they going to be ready for this one? He's coming and cutting, blazing. Oh!
Constant bouquet. Let's begin. Recite your baseline.
A thin black reticle began to spin.
For basically every team, it's a pretty unanimous thing we've got going on, where every team basically rated PARIVISION top 2, right? And the vast majority of them actually rated them number 1. Where flip side, you hate to say it, SemperFI, they're rated bottom 2 across the board, basically for every single team, and for the most part at that bottom end. So I wonder as well for teams how much that leans into, probably, you know, if you're a team towards the higher end, you probably don't even read into it, because at that point you're expecting to be towards the top. But a team like SemperFI, who are still quite young, still relatively inexperienced as well, I do kind of wonder for them, like, does that knock the confidence a bit? I mean, they're pretty young, they're pretty inexperienced. Like, that must be, I mean, obviously, I hate to say it, but maybe self-expected a little bit. They are, of course, a side who don't get to play as many reps on Tier 1 compared to the vast majority of teams here, but that must hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I would think so, right? If you want to try and consider and look at it, but also you have to be realistic with yourself. And the one advantage I think that SemperFI can come in with is just say, look, the region is so vastly underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And at the moment is not really looking so good. You know, if you look across the crop of the stage 1, we'd maybe expect a couple Asian teams in here. But, you know, it just doesn't seem to be the case ultimately that there's as much presence to get involved. So it's a little bit difficult, I think, for SemperFI to look around them usually and get that kind of experience and build up into something like a Pro League. So this is their experience, and they only get to do it, if they're lucky, 2 or 3 times a year at this kind of level, you know? So it really does paint a difficult picture for the Australian team here.
Yeah, I think you're spot on as well. But the city's playing.
And that's what... Oh! Laser beam!
Best aimer and best hair. You mean best crosshair?
Is it Kyosuke or Kayasuke?
You can call her however you want.
Okay, either?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one sounds better? Kyosuke! Kyosuke! Actually, they both kind of work.
Yeah, team seeding versus the VRS seeding, vastly different. But of course, ladies and gents, as you can tell, we are just waiting to get this one underway. Ever a slight tech issue before we begin, but as to be expected, first day of the tournament, it's sort of...
We're back online.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of as we expect, but it gives us time to run through not only kind of like the seeding stuff, but also, as we've spoken about, the format and the expectations for a lot of the teams there. I think this is a good time than ever, really, to run through where we're feeling in terms of expectations for teams. So we've got the team seeding versus the VRS seeding up in front of us. PARIVISION, 1 across the board for both. Makes a bit of sense. G2 by teams rated a little bit higher than they are, just 1 space.
Yeah.
The big one we discussed when we went for a little coffee run earlier, FUT, rated 3 overall by teams, but actually 8 overall in the VRS. So a lot of teams pretty scared of them, which is, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You look at players like Demon, who's been incredible. I think Krabeni is like one of the best fragging IGLs that we've had come through the tier 2 in the last few years. Like Jugas as well, incredibly talented. Like, no wonder they're rated so highly.
I think they're a team that are pretty scary to play against because you just don't quite know what to expect in terms of, you know, how they're going to approach the game. They come from the academy system, the sort of tier 3 to tier 2 to now maybe you could say tier 1 with a little question mark grind. And I think that because they've played so much of the online Counter-Strike and had to come up from the bottom, you build this style that is very instinctual, very, you know, throw the kitchen sink at a few rounds, but it manages to work. They maybe don't need as much like deep communication in terms of the rounds because they've just been playing together for so long and maybe even built their individual styles around the guys they're playing with, you know? So I think they're a really difficult team to predict and just be on the receiving end of, at least for now, until maybe they get a little figured out.
Yeah, for sure as well. And there's a few others on the flip side. You got Team Liquid, who their VRS is much higher than their ranking. I think that's pretty valid, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, Liquid carry like a legacy almost with them, I think, is the thing.
Yeah, you got 3D Max as well on the other side, which again, I think is pretty valid. Like 3D Max, I think recently have looked quite weak. Telling the last year, I was loving what 3D Max are putting up to the table, but it's a new look 3D Max coming in towards this Pro League. We got Wasink now coaching, MBK now assistant coaching, and we got Masuta in place for body as well in towards this side. Like on paper, that's kind of interesting. Like it's a nice little injection of firepower from Masuta in theory. Now we've seen him obviously already play at the top level and struggle with consistency. That's always been his big issue. Like, he obviously has the high highs, but some pretty low lows. But if they can find a bit of a middle ground with him, again, it could be kind of spicy.
Yeah, it feels like a quick move.
Yes.
Maybe the word I've seen thrown around is like desperate in a way.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. I think body, maybe it is a little bit of changing the identity of the team ever so slightly. It felt like he was a bit of the glue man at the moment.
I agree,
you know, and just bringing in some of that experience. Maybe, yes, they're not leaning on him as much. Gravity with the bigger voice now, but I think it'll become pretty interesting over the course of the next, you know, couple of months, maybe even just this event, to see whether it is a good enough change, a big enough change, or not really. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath for it. You know what I mean? I think this 3D Max team have just sort of been figured out coming into this year, and they've not really changed the game all that much into 2026.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they've been a side who have looked a little bit middling in their own regard. But for the most part, most of these other rankings seem okay. I mean, I guess NRP and Heroic are a little bit higher than by the teams than where they are VRS-wise. But again, I think, you know, with recent performances by them, it kind of makes sense. Like Heroic actually just won Draculan yesterday against 100 Thieves. That was a nice little 3-mapper there. 100 Thieves now ranked 35th in the world off the back of 14 games, 2 lands. That's a pretty...
VRS maxing.
Yeah, exactly that. NIP in their own regard as well, been doing quite good in the tier, kind of tier 2, tier 1.5 lands. So I can see where they've got a bit of respect. But it's going to be an interesting tournament, right? You know, outside of kind of this game in front of us, we've got some pretty spicy debuts to look at. I'm looking at that Passion UA one, Senzu, in towards this side.
Yes,
Big question, right? We've not seen Senzu play Counter-Strike in a bit of time now. Been kind of since the tail end of the last year, took that hiatus pre-major, and kind of, I guess the big question is, I mean, like, you know, at one point, Senzu was one of the best riflers in the world. I know, to a top 20 rifler, he was an incredible player, and at times it felt like he was single-handedly propping up the Mongols in a lot of their tough victories, and now he moves in towards this Passion UA side, and it's a massive injection of firepower for them. But generally speaking, like, this is going to be kind of wild. Like, I do just wonder, like, how much has he been playing CS prior to, I guess, maybe getting asked to join Passion UA? Like, was he actually full on break?
Well, I mean, potentially, and then it's also, again, it's a bit of a region where it's like, are you going to be able to keep your skills all that high? They do have a bit of a pugging scene, but it's not quite on the same sort of level as what you'd get in Europe. So I'd be curious.
Teams
to
basically, and then like a loose third that they just sort of dog on a bit.
Yeah. So I don't rightly know how he's going to look, but hopefully revitalized. I also think there's just so many questions around this guy in terms of like what did happen when he left. You know, there was sort of a bit of a cryptic tweet of like, I'm sorry for what I've done, and it's like, okay,
what was it then?
Yeah, like explain, please.
Let us know.
He never did. So you know, at least to my knowledge. So I think that this is a player that has loads of potential, hopefully can deliver. But there's also a bit of a reason, no offense to Passion UA, they seem to be an organization that's pretty serious and trying to make moves. But why has he not been sort of approached by other teams like a Na'Vi or a FaZe, that might be able to slot someone like Sensu in there that feels like such a slam dunk pickup? Clearly, he's just not had that sort of attention. Maybe his buyout's too high, don't know, but there's not really been any rumblings of like, oh, Sensu's going to come back, which is what makes this a cool move because it's just out of nowhere. But
I also think fundamentally with Sensu, I think from my understanding, one of the biggest things that everyone was sort of really kind of debating with him as a player going to like other sides is like, how good actually is his English? Like, can he actually confidently communicate in English? Because if you look towards that side, and obviously historically Techno has always done the interviews for the Mongols. We've been out in Mongolia with them. We know that basically most of them do speak English, at least like somewhat conversation. Obviously Techno is definitely the strongest at it, but it was one of those where they all speak a little bit. We spoke to Mazzinho a bit, and they're all kind of competent in terms of their English. But again, like, it's a whole different kettle of fish when you're in a game. You have to communicate quickly, give over information effectively as well. So I think that's probably where a lot of teams are maybe sort of like questioning whether he could make the move international. And yeah, Passion UA have taken the gamble. I'm looking forward to it. That first game for them should be kind of interesting. We hopefully as well got the word that we should be getting underway in towards this game soon. So no more rambling from us. We can get this show on the road, which we're looking for, of course. I will say as well, like, this Monte side for me, slightly underrated. But yeah, either way, this game is going to be getting underway in just a second. So I think we need to get ready for it, mate.
And that's what... Oh! Laser beam!
Maybe I should have let you go. I should have. should've let you go. I should've let you just walk on by. Never even said hi. No, no. Then we would never know just how hard it feels to open up hearts, to have to let it go. We can't turn back now, 'cause we've come too far to not leave with broken hearts. I guess something inside my soul just couldn't stand to let you walk away so easily. No, no. And maybe in time we can figure out just what these moments are all about. All we guaranteed is a little change. Oh, I don't want my heart to feel this way again. And I just need a little more time to make sure what we're doing is right. I just need a little more time to make sure that we're doing this right. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I figured that I'd stop by just one more time and let you know what's really on my mind. Oh yeah, we both got a lot to say, but the words escape. It never seems to be an easy way. No, no. I hope and pray we at least get just one more dance. We deserve to give this love a chance. 'Cause we got enough to try. We just need a little more time. Make sure we get it right. Oh yeah, yeah. And maybe in time we can figure out just what these moments are all about. All we guaranteed is a little change. Oh, I don't want my heart to feel this way again. And I just need a little more time to make sure what we're doing is right. Oh, I just need a little more time, Lord, to make sure that we're doing this right. Oh, I just need a little more time to make sure, yeah, what we're doing is right. Oh, I just need a little more time, yeah, to make sure that we're doing this right. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light. At the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Hey, man, I'm feeling like myself again. It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light. At the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight.
Alright, let's do this.
And that's what laser beam! Window no scope from center! No way! It's a perfect end! This is madness!
Counter-terrorists win. Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Yeah, run through some of these highlights again. And you can see, like, right at the start for the SemperFI side, like, it started so poorly, but their run to make this competitive was, man, like, tail end of the first half into the start of the second, a run for them, which I think it's safe to say is earned respect, right? You know, we were kind of talking about it. They are kind of, by large, in fact, they are sort of the tail end of where teams are rating teams in the stage one. They are normally either right towards the bottom or maybe second from the bottom, right? The fact that they've gone the distance against PARIVISION on their best map, their go-to pick, right? Dust 2 has been their pocket pick. I mean, that is actually a fantastic run of things. It obviously is safe to say that they spent a lot of time in the tape, in the demo reviews, looking towards this side, and things have worked out quite nicely for them. But again, just showing how good PARIVISION can be, that I think even when they're coasting a little bit, like, let's be frank, like, that is not PARIVISION at 100%. Yes, they might have to lock in a little bit more towards the tail end, but they still are kind of warming up in towards this tournament. We've seen what PARIVISION can do in the depths of a LAN, right in towards those tail end stages. That's where they play their best kind of CS, right? This is them warming still up a little bit, but I think it nearly cost them, right? I think they were a little bit maybe overconfident off the back of map number 1, and it very
shining though. I was at the bottom, but it didn't stop me climbing though. Talents we ain't hiding those. Cook out, I'm providing for talk to me one last time. It's hard leaving you this way, but the train's about to roll into the bay. Such a good time having you by my side. It was such good times, baby, with you by my side. When my work is done, we go back to having fun. Honey, baby, I've been on the road for so long. I'm begging you, please don't get me wrong. It's you I'm in love with. You got to know it ain't no me.
All right, let's do this.
And that's what laser beam! Window no scope from center! No way! It's a perfect end! This is California! This is madness!
Hard to read just because they've not been playing loads of Counter-Strike this year.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit less to work off of since the Anubis has been added in. You know, what are they going to go for? What's the kind of logic that they're bringing to vetoes and whatnot? Teams don't rightly know. So
Yeah.
we're gonna find out here. I think that it does again just raise a lot of eyebrows in terms of whether Astralis are the slightly cleaner team. They've got that little bit more firepower, you might say, and just a lot more experience to work with, really.
Yeah.
I think it came through. Yeah, I was going to say that the veto was just
this makes more sense. Okay.
Slightly sideways.
I was a little bit confused why Nuke wasn't the decider, if anything,
and the
right?
and
the Dust 2 as well. Yeah, it was like for Astralis, I mean, that feels like a rogue pick. When I was rolling through, I was like, surely this isn't right. This makes a lot more sense. We get the Ancient out as well, which of course is a great map for Astralis. It's kind of, I feel like being quite ingrained in this Astralis side. I think Hooksy as well as a caller has always liked this map. Nuke is the decider. That is the handshake. It's not like a strong handshake, because both sides aren't exactly fantastic on it, but it's a map in which they've both been incorporating in towards the pool. Astralis, this is historically their map, right? This is the map in which they famed themselves on many a moon ago. But now with this new look team who are branching out in terms of going international, I wonder how it looks. You know, we look at kind of where they're at now. Monte have actually been kind of making a real name for themselves in the tier 2. Like, they have been winning a lot of decent lands, looking really competitive in tournaments. They're flying up the ranks. And it's become a bit of a scary / precarious time for Astralis, who are also on a bit of the come up. They need to be careful. I mean, currently, Monte found themselves 17th in the world. They won Copenhagen Gaming Week recently. They went on a decent little streak as well. They've been taking down some notable names. Like, they are definitely not to be slept on. And I think a lot of teams who have ranked them, I think they're like 4th from the bottom. That feels too low for me.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. Again, I think it just comes from the idea that a lot of the teams don't know what to expect. Like, they've not played them recently, or they've not seen them play very much. So it's like, you don't rightly know where to place a team like that. You know, the top 10 are going to be teams that are like, okay, we've seen these guys, we know they're good, I can guess their level. The bottom ones are like, they're coming from a region or a qualification that just puts them in a bracket of like not quite being good enough at this level. Monte fall in the weird middle ground where it's like, people know they're good enough because obviously the numbers and stats speak to that. But in terms of playing, they've not necessarily been putting up loads and loads of games. They have been focusing the lands, and therefore don't have as many reps to go from because it's not been at every single LAN going so far. But that also seems to be the case for quite a while, actually, looking down these results. There's just not a lot of online play from Monte.
Yeah, which is actually completely against what they've traditionally done. But I think this is actually their kind of like themselves, like 100 Thieves, for example. This is the textbook they're going for, which is like VRS points on LAN are double. Let's just play LANs, right? If we can kind of spend a lot of time shoring up our prac and shoring up what our scrims are looking like, and we can get towards a LAN and look really strong, And if we do well at said LAN, that's going to help us massively. They fell to Fnatic and Roman Imperium Cup 5, which they led them kind of falling out in 5th to 8th. It's quite a brutal format, that Roman Cup, where basically a loss and you're gone type vibes. And it's quite cutthroat in that sense. They got drawn up against Fnatic, fell short there. But as a whole, where we're at looking in towards this side, like, you know, it's been a quiet year by their standards. We're so used to seeing them being so ingrained within the online Counter-Strike and so ingrained within this kind of, well, this sort of format, right? Playing from home, playing for the comfort of your bedroom in a way. I will say, though, because we are going in towards this game being it online, I would say Monte are going to feel a little bit more comfortable in doing so, right? You know, I feel like bar the likes of a Ryu and the likes of course, a Fuzi. I think, you know, the rest of the Astralis side are just so used to doing everything they do on LAN, on boot camp, whereas for Monte, this has become second nature for them. They're going to be a lot more comfortable out the gate.
Bot.
What?
I told you before, you're fucking bot.
Hashtag remove this update.
Okay, so my name is Miroslav Plachotya. My alias is Zontix.
Let's see.
Good answer. What a professional. What a professional.
Do they have to go into the hole? Oh, whoa, okay for break. Oh, he's got it, he's got it. This time is blowing out.
Oh, mama, I killed a man.
USA CS Renaissance is upon us.
Cathedral might just be their tomb as Apex all five. I'm really bad in English.
So there's a reaction.
Let's go, Nico. Nice, Nico. Let's go.
chance, and that's a fantastic way to start a series. Astralis, they've got to find a way to respond heading in towards the rest of this series. Ancients coming up next, and then Nuke. Let's see what they've got.
Back to game one.
Oh, 5-1 now. Tech pause potentially.
Every
just
round.
prepare yourself for that. Looks like we're good.